Mr. Chairman, and Ms. Rosen, I have a first question for you, please. The Chinese money laundering networks are really a lifeline for the cartels. And in your opinion, what is the best or most effective way that we could take action in Congress to disrupt that current network?
Congress has taken a lot of actions already to address the counter-narcotics elements of cartel activity and fentanyl drug trafficking. Part of this is through sanctions actions and authorities related to that. In recent Congresses—
Well, again, it's a simple question. In your opinion, I really respect the work the CRS does. I love the group. They did great work for us, and it's very down the middle, which we appreciate. But again, if you were in charge for one day, what's the one thing that you would do or continue to do that is the most effective?
Congress has done a lot in terms of establishing priorities related to this issue. And this is one of those things where there's not one single policy response that will solve this entire problem. As the witness,
I don't think there's, again, I'm not confrontational. I just wondered, if you had to do one thing, what do you, of all the things we've done, which is the most effective and which should we put more weight behind?
I think broadly what we've been talking about today is a follow the money approach. That's one element of a broader counter-narcotic strategy.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cassara, you were on the front lines. You get it. I'd ask the same question. I really like to know what the folks who are really on the front lines are doing. If you could do one thing to counter the very element that the chairman has brought up today, what is the most effective thing we're doing right now, and how can we accentuate that?
Thank you for the question. I think if it was one thing in conjunction with another, the one thing would be I would mandate that the U.S. government, law enforcement, whole of government approach come up with a comprehensive strategy to go after Chinese transnational crime and strategy. It's not a single agency. It's not a single bureau responsibility. It has to be all of government. And in conjunction with that, as part of that, I would seriously give consideration to establishing task forces that are specifically focused on the Chinese transnational crime threat, regional task forces, combining federal, state, and local resources.
Okay. And Mr. Lazarus, if I could, is this a part of a broader Chinese strategy to undercut the United States?
Thank you for the question. You know, I think that this Silk Road of crime, there's evidence of instances where Chinese criminal actors also work with, say, local Chinese diplomats or have worked on behalf of Chinese state-owned enterprises. I don't necessarily, there's no evidence that shows direct connections to, say, you know, Xi Jinping and some of these illicit actors, but I do think that there is a symbiotic relationship between the two, and I think that's exactly why this needs to be further prioritized in the bilateral relationship. And that's why I think President Trump should bring this up directly with Xi Jinping when Xi Jinping visits DC in September of this year.
And back to you, Mr. Cassara, if I could, are banks, SINFEN, and law enforcement working closely enough together now that they have that confidence and trust in each other, or can we do more to strengthen that relationship as we take on these criminals?
As long as I've been in the federal government, we've talked a great deal about partnership between industry, the banks, and law enforcement. It's been an up and down relationship. We can do a lot more. I've talked to a lot of people in the banking community. They're frustrated. They don't get the guidance they believe they deserve from law enforcement, from FinCEN. They consistently complain that there's no feedback if they give them this amount of information. And they're frustrated because their anti-money laundering compliance programs for banks alone cost roughly about $50 billion a year, or about 25 times more than we actually recover criminal proceeds every year. The current system is not working.
Okay. Well, Mr. Chairman, first of all, thanks for putting this hearing together. I really appreciate it. I read some materials before we got here today, and again, it just sounds as usual that we need to do a better job of coordinating the folks who interact with these different criminals, unfortunately, and being a more succinct way in which we could challenge these. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.